Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video, we bring to you how to eliminate toxic pesticides and chemicals from shipping container floors before you use them for home construction. Stay tuned to find out how. Good, welcome back. Majority of shipping containers are fitted with 1-inch marine ply floor made from tropical hardwood. The hardwood is used because it is strong, durable, and hard-wearing to withstand the rough handling of cargo during the shipping process. Unfortunately, most of these hardwoods are highly susceptible to attack by pests and insects. In order to meet global quarantine requirements for safe imports and exports, the timber floors have to be treated with insecticides before they are fitted into shipping containers. The pesticides might not be hazardous to the goods being transported, but may be harmful to humans. Shipping containers are designed to transport cargo and not for human habitation. In order to use shipping containers to construct homes, the original plywood floors may require some remedying. So, the following are the 5 possible ways of eliminating toxins and chemicals from shipping container floors before using them for home construction. Number 1. Removing the original plywood floors. The main concern with keeping the original plywood flooring is the hazardous fumes oozing from the pesticides used to treat the plywood. The potency of most of these pesticides has reduced over time, but there is a need to mitigate against the effects of the fumigants when containers are used for constructing homes. Removing the plywood flooring and replacing it with a new floor would be a safer option. Before you embark on removing the floor, you need to first establish which chemicals were used to treat your floor by looking at the consolidated data plate attached to the door of the container. Alternatively, use the shipping container's unique identification number to track the manufacturer of your shipping container. There could be a likelihood that the container may not have been treated with pesticides, or the chemicals used are not harmful to humans, and therefore replacing such a floor with a new one would be a waste of money. Removing the floor may not be a straightforward exercise. It can be expensive and time-consuming. You need also to get the correct tools and equipment to safely unscrew, cut, and remove the timber panels. Feel free to consult an expert to help you with the process. Secondly, treat the original plywood floors. If removing the original plywood floor is not feasible for you, then treating the plywood floor would be a cheaper option. The most cost-effective treatment is to use a non-porous sealant on top of the plywood floors. Covering the floor with an epoxy floor finish will be cheaper than removing the entire floor. Epoxy flooring acts as a vapor barrier on top of the wooden floor, helping to limit the oozing gases from the fumigants. Ensure you prepare the plywood floor before applying the epoxy. Vacuum thoroughly to remove any broken pieces, dust particles, and chippings. Do not sand the floor during the preparation process. Why? Sanding can release trapped fumigants whose exposure can be hazardous to humans. Ensure the epoxy used is solvent-free, and it is also recommended for use on timber or wood. The additional advantage of an epoxy floor finish is that an epoxy floor is smooth, shiny, and non-porous, making it easy to clean, and in the long term, it is a low maintenance finish. Thirdly, install a new timber floor on top of the original plywood floor. If using epoxy flooring to treat your plywood floor is not an option, laying laminate flooring on top of the plywood floor would be another cheaper option. Before installation, check and prep the existing plywood floor before any installation is done. Make sure it is clean, dry, level, and structurally sound. Vacuum thoroughly to remove any broken pieces, dust particles, and wood chippings. Once that is done, you are encouraged to cover the entire floor with a heavy gauge polythene lining on top of the plywood floor to act as a moisture barrier. In addition, the polythene will also create a non-porous layer to help limit the vapors oozing from the fumigants in the plywood floor. Some laminate flooring come with an underlayment on the underside of each piece, which are good for conventional houses. However, for a shipping container home, you are encouraged to cover the entire floor with an unbreathable underlayment and tape any seams with duct tape to lie flat on the floor. The underlayment acts as an extra layer to effectively cut off any moisture and any oozing vapors that might escape through the polythene lining. In addition, the underlayment offers additional padding to help flatten the floor in case it wasn't done even. With all the above procedures in place, lay the laminate flooring by observing the recommended best practices. If cost is not a limitation, you can use timber planks or parquet instead of laminate flooring. The fourth option is cast in situ concrete slab on top of the original plywood floor. If epoxy flooring and laminate flooring don't give you the result that you would expect, a combination of essentials from the two processes combined with in situ concrete slab would be another alternative. Casting an in situ concrete slab on top of the original plywood floors will help provide a monolithic seal on top of the plywood floor. You are encouraged to cover the entire floor with a heavy gauge polythene lining on top of the plywood floor to act as a damp-proof membrane or a moisture barrier. In addition, the polythene will help to create a non-porous layer to limit the vapors oozing from the fumigants in the plywood flooring. Cover the entire floor with steel rebars tied at 300 millimeters cross boxes. Weld the rebar onto the container walls along the perimeter of the entire floor to hold the rebar in place. Next, you need to pour a 100 millimeter thick concrete slab with correct spacers in between the rebar and the polythene sheet. Once your slab has gained the required strength, feel free to explore different finishes on top of your concrete slab. You can try out colored dyes if you are using a highly polished concrete floor, or finish it with floor tiles of a pattern and color of your choice. The good thing with concrete flooring is that a poured concrete floor is good for underfloor heating, making it ideal for container homes in cold climates. It makes it a bit difficult for any fumes to penetrate through that thick layer of concrete. So you can be so sure that if it's properly done, then you are safe in reducing or eliminating any fumes from oozing through the concrete slab. The last option at number 5 is buy a one-trip shipping container. If restoring an old container by any of the 4 methods highlighted above is not an option, before you build a shipping container house, decide if you are using 1. A new container, 2. A one-trip container, or a used shipping container. Buying an old container may be cheap but will cost you more to restore and maintain. Apart from pesticides used to treat the plywood flooring, using old containers increases the high risk of multiple toxic exposures from toxic spillages and hazardous shipment. In addition, old containers come with challenges of dampness, corrosion, deformed corners, and dented walls with warped roof panels. The safest option, therefore, is to buy a one-trip shipping container whenever possible. So, what is a one-trip container? This is a container used to ship a single cargo load, and once it arrives at its destination, it is sold off. One-trip containers are preferable because they have less blemish and they are cheaper than new containers. It is advisable to inspect the containers in person before buying them. Using new containers would be the best alternative if cost is not a factor. If you are ordering for new containers, you can instruct them not to treat the floor with pesticides. With all this information, you should be now in a better position to eliminate any toxic chemicals or pesticides from a shipping container floor before you use it for any home construction. We hope you found our presentation informative enough to help you go through the process depending on the method you find appropriate from the 5 highlighted above. Give us your opinion by posting in the comments below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for our weekly videos and updates on amazing design ideas from shipping containers. Thank you for your time and see you soon in the next video.